Yeah, so I longed overnight, and what do we always talk about? How does a daily candle form? Logical price levels to target, etc. Right? Um, I know I alerted yesterday that like this entire price leg sort of looked like it could be completely inversed, right? But the only problem was bullish market, and then we have SMT in the weekly gaps down here between these lows. And I believe Nasdaq actually did ES take this low? Yeah. See, ES barely took this low as well, which was right before its weekly gap. That's what this gray box is. So seeing that and having SMT with YM, and then the same exact model that I'm going to show you guys here presented itself the other day. So same thing, right? Friday takes the low, and then here's the Sunday open. Clears out a short-term low. After this should be protected because of the SMT, and then you guys can see the rally overnight occurs there. Um, so same logic applies here. And the only reason I even said we could potentially be coming down for this pull sell side is just because of the SMT up here. But bullish or bearish SMT in a bullish market, you have to be careful. So that's what I keep trying to remind everybody. That's why I always just kind of neglect bearish SMT for the most part, unless a lower time frame model presents itself. But when you have this amount of 4 hour fair value gaps to get through, you have to kind of just be patient. So that's why I wasn't just jonesing to get in shorts, etc. So 4 hour fair value gap is our key level that we're using as support. And then I also just drew the fib from the high to the low. And then the first premium sell side target was up here. So that's where I was basing my draw off of. And now this is the trade logic. So I have 18 o'clock marked out because that's the new day open. This is the daily candle forming. What do we notice? Small lower wick, already having a large candle body. Is our draw hit? No. So now we are able to have some sort of trade idea. You can see this short-term low gets taken right at what? Key time, new day open. Open lows into a 4 hour fair value gap into a short-term low. And there's also SMT down here with YM, but I didn't really give that too much weight just because YM has just been so weird. You guys can see here, same sort of thing. Never took the low and then just went straight up. But the same model presented itself on YM as well. You could have entered here or on the closure. Stop loss here. And you can see it ran nice for the highs. But I took ES just because it was stronger than NASDAQ. And so from the hourly, not really too much to look for. And ideally, when you have this sort of move off of the low, you don't want to see a lot of pullbacks. And so that's why I was kind of just trusting these gaps and stuff to stay open. And this is the first thing I noticed, that we had this 30-minute fair value gap. This is how my chart looked when. This is exactly how my chart looked when I was looking to potentially put on a trade. I saw that price dug into this 30-minute FVG and then closed very high outside of the gap. So that's telling me, one, that price most likely isn't going to want to continue lower. Pairing that with the daily candle forming as a bullish open, low, high close. Pairing that with the new day open, opening lower into the 4 hour fair value gap into the previous daily low, and then having that CSD on the lower time frame here. If we go the 15-minute, confirming now that we should not return to this low, because once you take the low, changing the state of delivery, and then we're showing you willingness to go higher. So same thing, just going into a lower time frame to potentially try and find an entry. This ideally is not the best order block to enter off of, but it's just the same thing on a lower time frame. You guys can see larger candle bodies, something that I'm more comfortable with, and also waiting for a 30-minute closure might be a little too long overnight session, so the 15 is where I had my interest. Saw that we rebalanced this inefficiency, just a 15-minute fair value gap, and then we closed above right here. This is my entry. I market sold or market bought as soon as we closed above. Got a trash fill up here at 41.75. Entered alerted afterwards, but the trade idea was just simply the continuation entry based off the 2 down closed candles after rebalancing the 15-minute fair value gap. You guys can see midnight opening price here. And I like, this is where my eyes were as well. Volume imbalances don't have a lot of weight to me, but when you're expecting nice clean expansion to the high, and we're close to the draw, which normally means you're going to have some fast move normally. This is just the second leg of distribution, so it's normally the fastest. I have my eyes on this volume imbalance, and midnight opening price was there, so because I wanted to see price continue to close above this, as well as respect this order block. And I sat in like 45 minutes of chop before I actually alerted the play. And then as soon as I alerted the play, we got a really nice push here. And I wanted to see speed through this 15-minute fair value gap on the left. Not really expecting this to offer any sort of resistance really, but just wanted to see price having willingness to break through these short-term highs and continue. And this is exactly how you know you're on side, right? So as soon as we took this high, I was not at 2R. You guys can see 1.33. That is not how I trade. So as soon as we took this high, I'm break even. Logical level gets hit. We were at the premium of the 4-hour range. I'm not interested in continuing to hold risk. And I knew that since we already had a large expansion here, price most likely, after hitting a logical level, will not continue to just spool, especially when there's no news. And so here was my 2R up here at 52.25, which I told you guys I was holding for. And then that got smashed right there. That was the entire trade idea. It was as simple as just buying the 2 down closed candles that rebalanced the 15-minute fair value gap after framing all of this framework. You guys notice every single one of my trades pretty much looks the exact same. I'll either enter off of a fair value gap or a breaker or an order block, primarily order blocks. But you guys can see, look at this daily candle. Absolutely perfect. You guys have any questions? Where would stop be using that close above high entry model?